I'm out here in front of Wheat Street Baptist Church. Dr. Tate, what's going on out here today?
Well, today is Elevate Atlanta for the Old Fourth Ward, Sweet Auburn Avenue, and Culture Centers International is here working with artist Andre Thompson to install murals to activate the old historic Wheat Street Baptist Church.
Can you tell me a little bit about the pictures that are being painted here at the church?
Certainly, these murals lift up the history of the longest serving pastor, Reverend William Holmes Borders, who this street is named for. And I drove by a few months ago, saw that the church was boarded up to protect the stained glass windows. Apparently, a homeless person had sat on the ledge and broken it, and so the church was just protecting the windows, but those boards made it look like the church was
Closed.
vacant and closed. And so I said we needed to activate that. I spoke to the late Jimmy Hodges, Deacon Jimmy Hodges, who recently passed. And so this whole work today is dedicated to him in particular, but to other saints at Wheat Street that have gone on, but who shared some very important history with me as we try to preserve, as they say, this church where the doors swing on welcome hinges.
You had did some other work with Wheat Street, and that had something to do with the stained glass, and it had something to do with the pastors. Was that his home, or what was it?
Yes, so the
Parsonage.
national,
Okay.
the parsonage. Yeah, so the National Park Service worked together with the church and received a $500,000 civil rights grant to restore the windows, the stained glass windows in the church proper. We've also applied for a second grant, but did not get that. But we're working to other funding to get the parsonage restored, which is the house that Borders and Dr. Jewel Pates Borders Benson, as a child, grew up in, and Mrs. Borders, Mrs. Jewel Borders, who the Christian Education Building is named for. So they were quite a family, and still remain a strong presence in helping the church, continue its ministry.
If I'm not mistaken, Hosea Williams started the.
That's what I heard. That
program
in the first
church.
unit, that Hosea Williams Feed the Homeless Hungry was started here in the basement. So many church basements are the beginnings of ministries. They're the beginning of schools. Spelman, Morehouse started in the basement of Friendship Baptist Church.
Tell me a little bit about your culture center, international.
So Culture Centers International is a nonprofit devoted to historic preservation through the arts. We just completed a project called the 1906 Days of Remembrance, and I chaired that coalition, which was a citywide effort to remember the 1906 race massacre, and as a group to change the nomenclature from race riot to race massacre. Riot is a term used to an insurance term to file claims and get money for property, but massacre is more endemic of what happened in the loss of lives, black lives, to white mobs coming in from downtown to here on Sweet Auburn, and ultimately over the 3 days ending up in South Atlanta, which was then known as Brownsville, which is the place where Carver High School is today.
Let me ask you this. Because of what you are doing, and it needs to be done, are you having any fallout from people talking about the critical race theory?
And people are going to continue to talk about critical race theory, but we have to keep focused on what our mission is, and we're promoting the preservation of African American history 365 days a year, not based on a spike in interest or criticism about critical race theory, here and there.
What would you like to say in closing?
In closing, we're a nonprofit, and this work, requires support. So we would love for those who believe in preserving Atlanta's history and heritage to go to www.culturecentersinternational.org and donate. And we thank you for your support.
And on that note, I'll say thank you.
Thank you.